Hey everybody, it's Daniel.
Stephanie.
With my Haunted Diary Communion and the Michigan Area Paranormal Investigative Team. And here we are tonight. It's a spooky night out here in the woods. And as we do each year, we are getting out here and we're going to read you some stories that we've found that people have sent us, different things, scary stories. It's Halloween, and this is what we call our spooky spooktacular. So this is the third annual 2023 spooky spooktacular. So with that, as always, really helps us out if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We have a whole wonderful channel with about 116 plus videos on it, and we're wrapping up our third season real soon. Go over and check it out. Hit that subscribe button. See if what we have is of interest to you. We do some ghost hunting, we do some Bigfoot hunting, we do some cryptid hunting, we do all kinds of hunting. We're just kind of hunters, I guess. So we are the void walkers, as we call it. So
Christmas is coming up. Go on all your friends and family's phones and subscribe as a great Christmas present.
There you go.
They'll love it.
There you go. So throwing it out there. So and share this on your social media if you can, because like that helps us out a lot too. We got a lot of locations for 2024 coming up, and we want you to be a part of them with us. And like Stephanie said, it's a great time. So all right, you want to start us out?
I am starting.
All right, Stephanie is starting.
Okay.
Nice and loud now. Nice and loud.
My first story is called The Singing Sands of, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Betty Grease, maybe?
Ooh.
Betty Grease, B-E-T-E-G-R-I-S-E.
Yeah, it looks good to me.
On the south side of Keweenaw Peninsula is a beautiful beach that contains more than meets the eye. The legend is that a Native American woman lost her love to Lake Superior, and because she spent the rest of her life on the beach crying and calling out to him, the white sand still calls to him this day. You can reawaken her voice by making the sand sing with the palm of your hand by patting or brushing the surface. However, it only works if you're on the beach at Betty Grease. Take the sand anywhere else and it loses its voice. You
know, I've actually heard about that. That's kind of interesting. Yeah. So we're going to have to go check that out one of these days. So yeah, so it's making me nervous already, because like as you move your light around, I like keep seeing things and I'm thinking, I'm like, there's bats out here. But you know what? If there was a bat out here,
it'd be going for me. They
would be frozen, first of all, because it is flipping cold out here. It's been snowing today, and it's like, so we're gonna cruise right through this because
we're fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
We're freezing. We're freezing. So, all right. Well, here's my first one. This is from the fine realm of Reddit. Something invited itself into my friend's home. I've told this story on another Reddit, but this is the one haunting experience that really freaked me out. When I was younger, I had a next-door neighbor named Lexi, and she was my best friend. Our parents would go on trips on motorcycles with each other, and we would camp out at one of our houses until they came back. It was normal for us. We had never had any paranormal events prior to this specific night. We were sitting in the bedroom talking and doing what we normally did. We saw a bright light through her window, followed with the sound of a motorcycle pulling onto the gravel driveway. We instantly think, okay, our parents forgot something. But before we could even get up to leave the bedroom, we heard a knock and a soft woman's voice say, "Hello," and the front door opened. This was a familiar sound because the door scraped against the hardwood flooring. We panicked, thinking there was an intruder at this point because the woman didn't sound like our family. We have very Texan voices. Y'all. I don't know. It's Texan y'all. I
think so.
Okay, we're just going to run with that. So that's the best Texas accent I've got.
Clearly, we know nothing about the South.
Yeah, no kidding. So we scouted the house, scared out of our minds, just to find the front door wide open and nobody in the driveway. Nobody was in the house. We finally felt better. We walked back into her bedroom, but before she went to enter, she collapsed on the floor and started sobbing. I didn't know what was happening. I was scared, and she told me something as tall as the doorframe was standing in her parents' room. After our parents returned, her family continued to have paranormal activity in their house, and then they moved out. Yeah?
That's a good one.
That's a pretty good one. That's pretty creepy. very subtle and yet creepy. So I don't like nighttime visitors coming knocking on your door. So it's not fun. So.
All right, my second one is the Torch Lake Monster.
Ooh, local.
One famous lake monster, somewhere in the deep, clear waters of Torch Lake, has been preying on unsuspecting visitors and campers of YMCA Camp Hayawenta for generations. Dave Foley, a counselor at the camp in the 1960s and 70s, takes credit for starting the myth, which was later popularized in a song by fellow counselor and folk musician Bob Thurston. One eye is brown, one eye is blue, his body covered all in icky green goo. The lyrics sang, "The presence of 50-pound muskies in the lake likely contributed to this tale, but another legend speaks of a sea panther, claiming that Torch Lake contains a monster with the head of a cat and the body of a lizard. Did Foley make up a monster story to entertain campers, only to stumble upon something even scarier?"
Maybe. Have you seen like these crazy Photoshop things people do now, or like they have like a giant snake swimming up the Amazon with like the head of a bison or a lion or something? They're pretty crazy. It's like, but a lot of sites post those as like being like real, and it's like, you know, so
yeah.
You know, we've talked about that. Reality's overrated. Actually, I think I might have heard the dog man while you were doing, and I think there might be somebody cutting up
Body?
Something. Let's just call it something.
Okay.
That sounds like a hatchet or an axe, doesn't it?
Hash-slinging slacker.
The hash-slinging slacker. SpongeBob references abound.
He's building a house.
They're building a house, don't worry. But yeah, watch out for the dog man. Oh, okay. Here's my next one. We lived in an apartment complex in Sacramento, California. One day I heard my husband talking to some people. A new couple was moving in upstairs from us. I went out to say hello and welcome them. They were very nice, and our neighbors across the way also came over to say hello. They went upstairs and opened the door to their new home. At least they're quiet, I remember thinking, because I didn't hear anything. We had people living above us when we moved in, a mother and 2 teenage sons, and there were times when I thought they were going to come through the ceiling. We went to pay our rent and mentioned the new tenants to the manager. She looked confused and said the apartment hadn't been rented. Yeah. Now, these didn't look like squatters, and if they were, why would they have let themselves be seen? Later that day, the maintenance guy came up with a couple of cops. They went upstairs and found no sign of anyone. The cops questioned everyone that had spoke to the couple and even had seen them go in. No one had seen anything go back out or anything. A lot of anythings there. I don't write them, I just read them. So that's my claim to fame. Sometimes we would hear footsteps in the upstairs apartment. Not only that, I started waking up with scratches. I blamed it on my daughter's cat, until one night it felt like someone ran a white-hot garden claw down my leg. My leg had 3 deep scratches from my knee to my ankle. In fact, I saw them appear. But the most eerie thing was that I had been looking through some old newspaper articles at the library, helping one of my kids with a school project, and I ran across a story that made my blood run cold. It's cold. My blood's cold. Before we moved here from Omaha, there had been a murder-suicide in the apartment. It went by a different name then, but there were pictures of the couple, and it was the same people that we had seen going in to the apartment.
That's
scary look. Oh, your turn.
All right.
Why does the dog man always like bark when you're like on your story? He's quiet all through mine.
I don't hear a dog.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
All right. Moving on.
Moving on. Oh, great. What is that?
What? Who does this?
I know. Who's building houses in the middle of the night? What is going on? Okay.
All right. Old Presqu'île Lighthouse. Let's take a step out of the water for a moment and visit another one of Michigan's great defining features, lighthouses.
Yeah.
Ships traveling between the Straits of Mackinac and Lake Huron need to make a turn at Presqu'île on the northeast corner of the Lower Peninsula. Old Presqu'île Light was built in 1840 to help guide safe passage, but it deteriorated quickly. In less than 30 years, it was replaced by New Presqu'île Light, slightly farther north, which is still in operation today. Old Presqu'île Light was refurbished as a museum in 1977, with George and Lorraine Paris hired as the original caretakers. They loved their role so much, George didn't want to leave, even after his death in 1991. Lorraine first saw the lighthouse fully lit in 1992, despite all of the wiring being removed or disconnected for decades. Since then, sailors, pilots, and spectators from across the harbor have reported seeing the yellow glow long after the bulb was removed from the lens. Many have also seen a figure in the lantern room, and others report mysteriously helpful coincidences around the lighthouse. The Coast Guard does not have an official explanation, but it sounds like George is still enjoying the lighthouse while helping visitors from the other side.
Nice. Lighthouses are cool. Why are lighthouses always haunted? It sure seems like it.
I think because it takes someone with a lot of passion for it to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so I think they don't necessarily always want to move on from it.
That energy, they're investing that energy into that space.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, that's not a job that's for anybody.
It's interesting. Lighthouses are cool. They're creepy. We love them. You have to check because I might have messed up my stories here a little bit. So.
Intermission.
No. Intermission time. Let's all go to the movies. Let's all go to the movies. All right, we're back. That was like the halfway point, too, I think.
Yeah, I was the dancing hot dog.
Was it?
Yeah.
You were the dancing hot dog?
Did you see me do backflips?
I did not see that. But, so, all right. Onwards. Now, see, we kind of have a theme going. Like, Stephanie's kind of got the local, or more local, Michigan area stuff, and I've got stuff
Urban
from
legends
all around the place. So, all right. Here we go. Number 3 for me. This didn't happen to me, but to my mother. Technically, it did happen to me, as she was pregnant with me when it happened.
That can't be good.
Sorry. I got a little spooked. Did you hear a dog?
I did.
Okay,
that time.
Thank you. When my mom was still married to my biological father, they lived in Pensacola, Florida. See, right out the gate, that explains a lot. Sorry, people in Florida, but... God, that's bad. I just alienated a whole state against
Good job.
I don't think we have any viewers from down there anyway.
No.
So if you're viewing from Florida, get in there and comment and hit that like button, and I will apologize to you personally.
We specifically love you in Florida.
Yes. Just not some of the
Not
rest
all
of Florida. Okay. Anyway, they lived in Pensacola, Florida. He was an actor at the time, and his troupe performed at the, I may get this wrong, the Sanger Theater. My mom wasn't allowed to drive due to being muy enceinte with me. Translation?
Very pregnant.
Okay. Good job. Stephanie's my translation lady. So, he would have had to do all the driving. She would often get stir crazy and suffer cabin fever, so she made him take her with her to the dress rehearsals. My mom eventually took it upon herself to help out in the rehearsals. While the actors practiced their lines, the orchestra rehearsed their music, and so on. My mom would move around the theater taking notes. She would write down any issues she encountered when sitting in different sections of the house, like if a prop or a piece of set blocked the view of an actor from one angle. If one actor's mark happened to obstruct the view of another actor on their mark from another angle, or if the orchestra's performance of Heaven on Their Minds made it difficult to hear Judas singing. At the end of the rehearsal, she would pass her notes along to the director and producer, who would then pass them on to the proper people. Kind of cool. Mm-hmm. During one particular rehearsal, my mom was sitting up in the balcony and proceeded to head back to the main level. The lights were still down, so it was pretty dark, which, I don't know, if you're pregnant, you might want to just turn the lights on, but hey, what do I know? I'm just the messenger. And she was 7 or 8 months pregnant. She couldn't see her feet. She missed a step and nearly fell backwards when she felt something grab her right arm and pull her backwards. It had a very tight grip on her arm and began to pull at her, urging her to go ahead. She proceeded down the steps, noticing that the grip not releasing at all. When she got to the landing to the main level, she turned to thank whoever pulled her up, and nobody was there. There were no marks, no bruising, nothing to show that her arm was grabbed. Mm-hmm. She had a little guardian looking out for her in that theater, so that's pretty cool. So, spooky, spooky. Theaters are spooky, too. Theaters and lighthouses. We like theaters and lighthouses. More than we like Florida. Florida's got some good lighthouses. Let's not be mean to Florida. No more Florida bashing. Gosh.
So this is a
It's
story.
warm there, though, you know.
It is.
You guys suck. It's freaking 32 degrees here.
It's warm in California.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not humid in California.
It's true, too.
Alright, this is a story that I think most people are at least peripherally aware of. These are the Paulding Lights. Mm-hmm. Another inexplicable light shines in Paulding, a town near Sleepy Hollow on the west edge of the Upper Peninsula. Heavy woods surround the area, and a stretch of northbound old US 45 ends abruptly at
Dogman. Dogman.
Okay. Sure.
You listen to the Dogman song, and when they talk about Buckley, we're in Buckley, okay? I'm telling you, it's in the song. So, and you know, it's got to be legit, right? All right, back to the story. Sorry. I'll shut up for a minute.
A stretch of northbound old US 45 ends abruptly at a sign from the U.S. Forestry Service. This is the location from which the famous Paulding Light can be observed, it reads. Legend explains its presence as a railroad brakeman's ghost, destined to remain forever at the site of his untimely death. Power lines and a service road cut straight through the trees as far back as the hills will let you see. And it's in this clearing that sightings of the Paulding Light have happened almost nightly since 1966. Some explain the light with different ghost stories, while others contend it's swamp gas or car headlights. Until you see it for yourself, there's no way to be sure.
I've always wanted to see that.
Me too.
I think we should put that on our list next year when we get up to the UP. I know it's a long drive.
Long haul.
But if you're going to go to the Keweenaw Peninsula, you got to go that way anyway. So,
yeah.
You know, you're almost all the way out there then. So, but yeah, no, Michigan, you can drive like incredibly far. You start like by the little tip down south of Detroit and then drive all the way up and into the Upper Peninsula and all the way to the west end of the Upper Peninsula. That's like 8 hours or more. Like,
more than
it's
that.
insane. Yeah, it's just like you can drive forever. It's like California. You can drive. We've been to California a couple times, and I've only seen like a tiny little bit because it just goes on forever. It's ridiculous. So we're going to put that on the bucket list. Paulding Lights. All right. I believe we're up to my last story already.
Mine too.
Really? All right.
Or we can stop there and then it's kind of even.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We might as well tell yours. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
You're going to finish up. You start, you finish.
Fine.
Yeah?
Fine.
Yeah? Just do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good. It's good.
Fine.
Yeah. All right. This one's really spoopy. It's so spoopy I saved it for last. I liked this one, so this is my favorite one. I like how it ends. All right. It's a little bit longer. When I first moved out of my parents' house, I lived in an old but recently renovated annex building on a farm. I was the first person to live in this building. It was really old and looked like it could have been an old pig shed. The farm was also really old, and there were remnants of an old priory about 50 meters from the house and annex, which also had an old excavated graveyard. One of the skeletons is in our local town museum, as it's the tallest man to ever live in my local area. That alone is pretty bizarre. I don't know where this is, but it's pretty cool. So the fact that they measure in meters, it's probably
Anywhere other than the U.S.
Yeah, Canada most likely, possibly, but the way they spell annex is weird too. Weird stuff happened pretty much from the day I moved in. Orbs and photos, unexplained thumps and bangs, all the usual ghost stuff. The annex was really small. Tiny shower room, toilet, then a tiny kitchen, then a living room, and then a bedroom. Each room had its own door. One day I was in the shower, and when I got out and went through to the kitchen, all the cupboards were open. Twice I had opened a kitchen cupboard and had a glass or a mug fly out, as in literally fly out and hit the wall behind me. If I ever fell asleep on the sofa in the living room, I would be woken up by a man's voice angrily shouting "hello" at me. I like that because that sounds like a time slip almost, like somebody that was there occupying it maybe realized you were there. So my TV would turn on in the night. My phone would randomly start playing music for no reason. I had my best friend stay over one day after we had been out drinking. We were both hungover, and she went to bed in my bedroom while I was zonked out on the sofa. I think that was probably a scary mistake, but she was shouting at me, "For F's sake, stop walking around. Why can't you sit down?" And I was sitting down. I couldn't hear the footsteps, but she definitely could. I would also lose things in my bedroom all the time. Jewelry, makeup, etc. A new lady started at my workplace, and little did I know she's a bit psychic. I had never spoken to her about where I lived or that weird stuff happened to my house all the time. One day, totally out of the blue, she told me there's a woman who likes to come to my house and play, and she really likes the teddy bear on my bedside table. Honest to God, there's no way she could have known this. She went on to say the woman is from a long time ago, and she has learning difficulties, and the monks used to look after her. At this point, my mind was totally and utterly blown. She told me to buy her a teddy and to put it next to the one on the bedside table. I was skeptical, but willing to give anything a go because I hated living there so much. I was so scared and freaked out so often, so I did it, and everything stopped. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That's a creepy little story. So, a priory. What's a priory is defined by?
I think a priory is where, like, a preacher lives.
Like they lived.
Maybe
Even nuns. Did nuns live in a priory? I don't remember.
I'm not good enough with
religion. I was raised in that environment, but I don't remember for sure. So, but I do know that as far as scary places for me, it would be like where the nuns. I have a little bit of a fear of nuns, so it's a long story. So, who doesn't? Who said that? I don't even know. Most of them are fine people.
Daniel was the only one in his family that needed to go to Catholic school, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, and it didn't work so well. It didn't take.
And it went the opposite way, didn't it?
They threw me out. It was just bad. So, no, I was a quiet kid, but I had a nun that she did not like me. So I'm not going to name her name because you name her name, she's just going to come hang around and try and get on the video. And
I'm going to say her name 5 times in the mirror.
Are you?
Sister Marietta. Sister Marietta.
Do you see?
Okay, we're just going to drop that right there. So I don't know what that sound was, but we're just cutting that off. So,
all right.
Is that a saw?
Yes, they are building an entire apartment complex over there. Who is doing this? Who does this?
I don't know. Should we be in fear for our lives? I mean,
I'm pretty sure I heard footsteps over there.
Yeah, it's okay. Anyway, let's get through this last story. Okay. Yeah, it's getting cold. It's getting really cold.
Last one.
All right.
At Michigan State University, the gorgeous Beaumont Tower stands above the trees in the middle of North Campus. The spot itself has its own...
My hair's all standing up. Getting spooked.
The spot itself has its own historic value, but today's legend involves a kiss in the courtyard. A couple who kisses at this spot, either in the tower's shadow or at the stroke of midnight, is destined to marry. One is only a true Spartan once they have kissed under the tower. Each entrance to the University of Michigan's Diag has its own charm, but the engineering arch has a special romantic importance. The legend is that college sweethearts who kiss under the arch at midnight will be destined to marry. This is more common as mythology than practice, but it's a popular place for alumni to go for wedding or engagement photos. And the 7-foot-tall Central Michigan University seal has stood in front of Warner Hall for generations. For just as long, there has been a legend that anyone who kisses their lover in front of the seal at the stroke of midnight and under a full moon will be together forever and destined to marry. And just when you thought you were done with ghost stories, the myth involves 2 star-crossed lovers who were supposed to meet under the seal at midnight to run away to get secretly married. The girl arrived early to wait eagerly, while the night kept getting colder and colder. The boy's car broke down, and he was delayed several hours. He arrived to find her still there, frozen to death, determined to wait for him until the very end. As he cried and scooped her into his arms, he kissed her one last time and died of a broken heart. It's said that the lovers were reunited in the afterlife, and their spirits visit the seal at midnight to bless lovers at their alma mater.
Whoa, nice. Nice. So does that mean we have to go there and kiss? Are we going to go there and kiss? Wait, we're already married.
And then we'll be destined to marry.
No, I think we already are married.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So, okay. Wow. So that was it. That was some good stories.
Those were good stories.
Those were good. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up pretty quick here because we are freezing to death, slowly but surely. They may find us out here frozen to death. This could happen at this point. 32 degrees. It was snowing today. It's not even Halloween yet.
I know.
Keep it real. Keep it real spooky. Don't forget to check out our other videos. Wrapping up season 3. Get ready for season 4. It's going to be super spooky. You're not going to want to miss it. So, Stephanie, what would you like to say?
Good night. Thank you for joining us for another spooky spectacular. And we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah, next time. And that's a wrap. Okay, now we have to do our dead poses. Okay. Okay, that was good.
What about one with the dolls attacking us?
First, we got to do our scared faces profile. Try a couple different angles. That's good. I like that one. All right, one more. Ready? Ready? Okay, I think that's good. I've gotten really good at doing the spoopies afterwards. All right, and the dolls are coming in. Yeah, the dolls are coming into play. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Huh. Oh. Okay, that'll be a good one because, like, then we'll put the death one afterwards. So
we're such doinks.
I know, but it's fun. It's all about having fun. God damn it.